Ooh, well, dancing music. We'll do a little tuning.
I forgot mine at home, but I don't need to hear it.
I don't either.
I'm going to call the McCracken City Commission meeting for Monday, April 3rd to order at 6:34. First of all, roll call. Oscar Jackie, Mayor.
Joe Titman, Commissioner.
Norma McNair, Commissioner.
Nicole Faribault, City Clerk.
Mina Kendall, City Treasurer.
Okay, next we will have public comment.
I have a question. You can go first. Nita's gonna go first.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna drop it. Oh. Well, I was very encouraged right there to see your top goals for 23 because I wanted to comment on after last meeting, you've got to realize you've got to run the city somewhat like a business. Nonprofits have 6-month, year, 3-year, 5-year plans. Schools have those plans. A city has got to have one. I mean, it just makes sense. That way you can put your vehicle maintenance, replacement, all on that plan so you can start budgeting for it. And there again, nonprofits, schools, businesses, your employees have got to be accountable. And you have to have a system in place to track what they're doing, what needs done. I mean, you gotta get it together. That's all I got.
Okay, hoorah! Next we got Diane.
I'm just touching back on the April 22nd initial cleanup day.
So that will be April, or so it'll be May 5th. April 22nd is completely out of the question because he is busy that day. So we won't have anything there. So it would be May 5th until, when did we figure the last 2 weeks of that Saturday was?
Well, I thought we talked about the 22nd, about having people having their stuff to the curb and everything, to
I
at
don't
least
know.
get to the burn pits and...
The burn pit, I mean, you guys are more than welcome to do whatever you want on that day and take your stuff wherever you want, but a city official cleanup day would have to be like May 5th, because if you put stuff out at the curb, I don't know who's gonna come and pick it up, to be honest with you. Because right now we don't have a truck that's working, we've got to get that hauled off still, and we also, like, there's no other way with trailers and trucks, unless you're gonna haul it down to your location, but there's not gonna be anything there yet. So we're kind of putting the cart before the horse, is what I'm saying.
So how long are the big dumpsters? They'll
They'll be here 2 weeks. They'll be here 2 weeks.
So May 5th?
Yeah, and
May
they'll be,
5th is a Cinco de Mayo day.
yes.
May 5th is
We used to do
Friday.
tacos on that day and nobody came anymore, so.
I think
Now
it's good the
you'll-
19th.
Yep, that's because it'll be the next, okay, through the 19th. Got it.
Yeah, so it'll be a full 2 weeks and they'll be dumped in between. So when they're full, we'll just tell them, hey, they're full, and you have to dump them.
Well,
So, but that'll give you 2 weeks to get all their stuff out. You know.
Well, it needs to get some kind of bulletin poster out that people start gearing up for this. Not wait till that day
No, that's what Nicole and I were talking about today on the phone. So,
to make sure that we get some kind of poster.
started it already.
yeah.
Okay, and then I had a thought process, and maybe Norma could step up into this, seeing as you have the control of the little children in the neighborhood. It would be a good thing on that day to get these kids involved. I got some really cool bags, as to see, we'll do like a money, who gets the most, picks up the most cans, plastic bottles, and whatever. And then randomly, I thought I would just tape $1 here and there to a can in different areas to see like an Easter egg hunt, but it'd be a trash pick. So
I'll talk to Carrie with the youth group too.
I just think it would be fun, you know, and get these kids on board and cleaning up your city.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
That's
Okay.
clever.
Just don't expect too much the weekend of May 13th. That's graduation.
Oh, the weekend.
Yep.
So are we doing it the 5th or what?
It'll be the 5th towards the 2 weeks.
Okay, so when do we want to initiate that we have everybody participate? If we can get as many,
I would say they can start, I mean, getting their stuff together and putting what they want set aside. Because we can set the, like, if you want to have the like the metal and stuff on Main Street, hauling that stuff up, we could start that early because we don't need trash pickup for that. We only need the pickup for the other stuff. So if they want to haul their stuff down there until the meantime, that's fine too, like the metal. But other than that, I mean, if they're actually wanting to use the dumpsters, those won't start till May 5th.
Okay, but when do you want to initiate having the town?
I would
Are you gonna do something that day? Are you gonna do tacos? Are you gonna make it a big thing? Or are we just gonna, whoever shows up, shows up?
I was thinking it'd be like lacrosse where you initiate what day it is, and this is the time they have until this time. And who participates, participates, and who isn't participating is not going to participate. But if you want to do like some sort of a taco thing, I mean, we can discuss and talk about that too. However,
I'm just saying to get, get everybody involved. Make it a team thing. And you're working on the poster.
I am.
So let's talk about that. Okay? That's all I got to say at the moment. Hoorah! Move on.
all right. Next we have oh, no, you're good.
Oh, you need my pen? I got one. Okay. Thank you. Because I did throw an extra one in.
I usually have one, but I almost forgot about the meeting.
Okay, so next is going to be the consent agenda for approval of the minutes. There's no bills to pay?
I got some.
Does anybody would like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we accept the consent agenda and the minutes. Do you want the minutes included?
Or just approve the consent agenda?
Okay,
It's already on.
all right.
I'll second.
Okay, so we moved and seconded that we approve the consent agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same side. Motion carried. Okay. Next is resolution ordinances, and I wanted to briefly talk about this before we actually read the ordinance for the charter ordinance of 2023-2. So it's to exempt out of the weekly meetings, as we talked about. We just need to decide whether or not we're interested in doing it every 2-week meeting or if we want to go back to monthly. The way it's set is if we do it every 2-week meeting, we're going to have to change another ordinance because we'd have to amend the ordinance that we actually have and then republish it, which is the regular ordinance. But the charter ordinance that Chris Gunn drew up is not going to affect that ordinance that's already in effect.
Okay.
And it would
That was
not
my
affect,
question on that.
and it would not affect our work sessions either, so.
I would suggest go with the one that we have, and, because we can always call special meetings if we need them. I mean, if something comes up, we can always add a meetings or not, and we can put it at any time, given time, so my thought is just stay with the monthly meetings and then use our special meetings for anything that we need to add to.
Joe?
I would suggest that we change the ordinance and have meetings every 2 weeks for a while, because we are getting some stuff done this way. And we have more opportunity to communicate, which I think is advantageous right now. So if we went every 2 weeks for a while, I know we're gonna have to change the ordinance and then we may have to change it again, but I would suggest that we do it every 2 weeks for maybe 2 to 4 months.
Till fall.
And then phase out of that to once a month.
So then, realistically, it would probably be easier to leave the ordinance alone, not pay the publication fees, and just make by a vote that we're going for the
Special
next 4 months, we're going to have a special meeting set every 2 weeks from the monthly meeting.
Awesome. You have to, for 61 days, it has to be every week anyway, so.
Right, yeah.
Oh, well, then that wouldn't matter then. If we're gonna already have it for 61 days, and that's already,
That's correct.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, then, I think that'd be satisfactory, because we're gonna go out that way for a while, so,
because that gives us 8 more meetings,
Yeah, because
Yeah.
we still
at
have.
least.
okay, I think that's fine.
Okay, so with that being said, then, is there a motion to accept the charter ordinance as read for monthly meetings, to change back to monthly meetings?
I would motion that we accept this ordinance and charter out of those weekly meetings, yes.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to go ahead and charter out of the weekly meetings, stay with the monthly meetings, and accept the charter as written. All those in favor say aye.
it.
Aye. All opposed, same side, motion carried. Okay, with that being said, the charter ordinance exempting the city of McCracken, Kansas, the provisions of KSA 15-1409. Be ordained by the governing body of the city of McCracken, Kansas, the authority, section 1. Any city may charter ordinance, elect in the manner prescribed by the section, that the whole or any part of this enactment of legislature applying to such city, other than enactments of statewide concern, applicable uniformly to all cities, other enactments applicable uniformly to all cities and enactments prescribing limits of indebtedness shall not affect to such city. Article 12, Section 5, C1 of Kansas Constitution. Section 2, rationale. The Board of Commissioners has a continuing duty to ensure that the process of government remain open and in full view of residents of the city of McCracken, but also must ensure that the governing of the people, by the people, and for the people does not burden its people with unnecessary means and bureaucracy. Section 3, exemption. Pursuant to the authorities stated here above in the governing body of the city of McCracken, Kansas, does hereby elect that the provision of KSA 15-1409 shall not apply to the city of McCracken, Kansas. However, that the Board of Commissioners shall meet at least once every month to conduct the business of the city of McCracken, and the provision stated in KSA 15-1409 that continues a majority of the members of the Board of Commissioners as a quorum for the purposes of transacting city business shall remain in full force and effect. Effective date. This charter ordinance shall take effect in the 61st day after its final publication in the paper and record. Considered and passed approved by the city board of Commissioners on this April 3rd, 2023. Okay. Next, we'll have commissioners' reports. So in my commissioner's report, the only really thing I have is I contacted Augie's, and they were supposed to come and remove the truck out of there. And they told me that they were going to call me back and let me know one way or another so that I could meet them down at the shed. Nobody called me back. I called them back, and he said he did not have time today. He would be there tomorrow. So I contacted him again. He did not bring anything forward to me. So I told him that I'm going to see if it was okay with the commissioners to contact a different towing company and see if maybe we can get that pulled out. With that being said, it was kind of tossed around that maybe the idea that Fred Felder would be able to do the truck rather than, like, to request and ask him, rather than Johnny's, because the fact that Johnny's is so busy, and there's some vehicles that we've been told that have been over there for well over a year. And if we're gonna try to get stuff ready by, ideally it'd be nice to be able to have that truck at least knowing what's going on and maybe working by May 5th, so that we could,
A lot of that is
Put
with
that
our
option.
issues over there at Scotty's.
okay.
So it's not because the vehicles are sitting there, because I talk to them quite frequently.
Okay.
It's a parts issue.
Well, I was under the impression that this man had the parts. He'd given the parts to them. His vehicle just hasn't been fixed. He hasn't had time to get to it. So that's neither here nor there. Fred is more of a older vehicle type guy, so he might be able to help us in that way. So I was thinking it might be worth just asking
For
if
sure.
that's something
Sure.
that,
Fred's a very honest person,
and he's in Rush County.
Yeah,
Rush
yeah,
County.
so he's right here in our home.
Yeah,
Backyard.
let's ask him.
And he sponsors a lot of stuff that, like the fair and all that.
So,
We don't care about the fair, it doesn't benefit McCracken.
Well, he sponsors
Yeah,
a lot of
let's
stuff.
ask
I
him.
think he might even sponsor the rodeo.
so,
That doesn't benefit
and
us
then
either.
Davis Automotive is who I was thinking maybe of contacting, because they're the only other ones that I know that
Yeah,
would probably not hang me up.
yeah, good.
Because I was surprised. He's like, well, I could probably get there by 6:30. And then I waited and I waited and I waited, and nobody ever called me back. And I was like, okay, so I called him and said, well, he can't get there till tomorrow afternoon. So then I waited and I waited, and I'm like, okay, this isn't helping.
Yeah,
And that was right after I'd left the shed.
Well, competition's the name of the game, so go to his competitors.
Okay. So do I need to make a motion then?
I don't think so.
No? Okay. Okay, next we'll have, Joe. Joe.
I talked to, Department of Wildlife, Riston Landwehr is the guy's name, and he's familiar with our pool. And, he said that we can, with a letter to him and a couple of pictures, close our pool and close out the project. He said a lot of communities that had their pools built about the same time ours was are doing the same thing because of the same problems. The grant is still available, so we can apply for a brand new pool at any time. He was totally understanding and sympathetic to our situation here, and encouraged us to do whatever we feel is necessary or desirable as far as whether or not we close it. We can close it for a year and go a year later and apply for the grant again, or we can get started on the grant right now. By the way, there's a grant writing program.
I took it. I took one just last week. And then
There's
I
another
took
one.
another one, or I signed up for the other one.
You did, okay.
Yeah. The thing with the grants is that they want you to have the money to match it. It's like a
Matching
cost sharing.
grants.
Yeah. So we'd have to come up with like half of it.
That's what we did the last time.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. You know, that'll gauge the desire for a pool around here.
Right.
And we could survey the people and see if there's, you know, you can ask a question, would you put money into,
A matching grant.
would you match, you know?
Well,
would you put money
we
into
did
it?
literally raise $15,000 in 1 year last time, just by food, me doing things here.
The pool we have now, in 1976, we only paid $97,000 for it, which is like a drop in the bucket nowadays. But maybe we want to start exploring what that grant entails and, you know, get started on it now. I don't know what, I didn't ask him specifically what the difference is if we just don't open our pool or if we actually send him a letter and sign out of the whole project. I think it's something that they probably require. If we're not going to open it, we need to close it officially with the state.
They'll be more likely to give us money again if we do it that way.
I think so.
Yeah, that's what they said to me.
And he understands how pools are built. Riston was, I told him that I thought fixing it at this point is a Band-Aid and it's not treating the disease, and he agreed and said that, again, the other communities like us are in the same situation where the pool's just worn out, it's too old. We can't fix those cracks in it. There's some ways of doing it, but again, it's just a Band-Aid. If we repair it or have a contractor repair it, they're not gonna guarantee their repairs. You know, but, there are some guarantees when you get a new pool built or installed that come from the manufacturer and the contractors, and
What about a fiberglass one that would fit?
that's probably what they do nowadays.
Just, you don't have to
Well-
redig a hole, just,
They take the old one out.
they do still have to do that. You can't just pop it in.
It's the best way. I don't think anybody that sells fiberglass pools has a retrofit like that. They take the old concrete out because one of the most important parts is the structure underneath the pool and how that's packed and compacted, and it has to be the compaction has to be measured, and it's very precise in order to make the pool last.
I just was wondering if you just drop one in.
No, I don't think so. The other thing is that I talked to BTI about our broken tractor. We did use it, I think it was Saturday or Sunday, when they oiled the greens at the golf course. We did manage to, it only had two functions on the joystick. You could make the bucket roll back and forth. So we ended up switching the hydraulic lines on the back of the tractor so we could make the bucket go up and down, which made it usable. All they really needed at the golf course was the power takeoff on the back of the tractor to run the pump to spray the oil. So they got that done. But they talked to Harvey at BTI and had him order a new joystick, which I forgot my phone because I raced out of the house, but it was $560 some. And I would imagine it's gonna be a couple $100 to have it installed also. But our tractor will be in good working order at that point, fully functional. And if we take care of it, it should last. Another thing I did was got a quote for gravel from Skillet, from Robbie Skillet. I'd like to take all the dirt out of the building, the maintenance building over there, take about 4 inches of dirt out of it and replace it with gravel. That dirt's a health hazard and it's a hazard to all our equipment, and it's just a mess to work in or to have to deal with. 15 tons of gravel will run us $300, which is cheap.
That's
And
all?
Probably 8 to 10 tons of it will do that whole shop up to the concrete. And then whatever's left, we can pile outside and use it for other things. Nicole said that Shane wants to do some gravel down by the pool or something. Is that
Yeah, he
right?
just said that there was other places that needed, like,
We can use it for sure.
I think maybe down by that blue building maybe, I don't know, I wasn't really listening.
Yeah, and 5 tons isn't all that much to have sitting around. We'll use it up, I'm sure. And he said he could bring that out in 4 weeks or so. He'd be ready to start delivering if we want to do that. I think that's all I got.
Did you check into the street sweeper? About eliminating it
No,
for cash to help the city?
we're still talking about that. I myself have my own opinion about it, and that is that it's a dinosaur. I don't know if we use it enough to make the maintenance worth doing. It's leaking hydraulic oil from about 5 different places. I'm not sure what's wrong with it or what it needs, but like I said before, we have a sweeper attachment for the Bobcat, and it actually has a separate attachment, a separate brush that goes down in the gutters. Some of these gutters are packed so tight and the silt is so fine that they'll have to be shoveled out before they're swept up, but I'd like to do some of that this summer and see some more of it done this summer and clean the streets up a little bit. So it would be my vote that we get rid of it and use the money to further improve our maintenance equipment, whether it be a new truck or repairing the truck that we have, or any number of other things we could do with that money. I think it's worth between $4,000 and $10,000.
Cool. Be a good asset.
Shane sent me a thing from a,
That Purple Wave auction?
Purple Wave.
yeah, and last time I saw, I haven't looked today, but last time I saw that one that's similar to ours was up to $4,000. The bidding was up to $4,000, and I haven't looked at it lately.
Yeah, I think it was coming up like on the 7th maybe it was gonna be done. But it was a working order one, like it was.
Yeah, it was better shape than ours.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, I saw a brand new one at that water conference and they look exactly the same, they're just, the brand new ones are shiny.
So, I don't know, it's still up for debate.
But they also did have little tiny ones too. I mean, they had a bunch of different things.
I
Our
don't know.
streets aren't good enough to even sweep them.
Well, Shane, I know he does shovel out a lot of the gutters. Like on Main Street, he did a lot of those for the library and stuff. I mean, when he has time.
And it looks better. And
But yeah, because he tried to do it with that attachment, and it just wasn't good. It wasn't enough
No,
for the situation we have. So I know he started scooping them out.
once they're scooped out and then we hit them on a routine basis, I think they'll stay clean.
Like he's been so busy. I
It's
mean,
just they haven't been done for so long and they're packed in there tight and they've been rained on a dozen times. And
yeah, I think it would help us. Our drainage system would work better. I mean, it would be nice. Like I said, he's been working more than he's ever worked in the past 3 months.
I think that's a big visual improvement to our town when I see those gutters cleaned out where he's done it. And I want to go all the way around my property, all the way around that block and do that this summer. I didn't have a chance to do it last summer, but it's definitely going to be done this summer. And then I actually kind of like doing that, so I plan on doing a little bit more of it around town.
I know he's done around our house, but
It just makes everything look just so much tidier. And then once it's done, like I say, if we hit them on a routine basis, they'll stay clean and we'll be better looking place. Plus, it'll keep the weeds down. You know, just brushing over those weeds kills them a lot, and driving over them and stuff. And if we keep it brushed out, they don't have dirt to grow in and get a hold. You know, if they get going in the dirt that's laying on top of the road, they'll find their way down into the cracks, and now you have a really tough time getting rid of them. I think that's all I got.
Okay, question. On the BTI, are they coming out to fix that, or, because since it's over $500,
is
we
it not
have,
though? We put
It would
credit.
be,
oh, we've credit 300?
Yeah.
So we're good?
Yeah.
a
Okay,
credit.
never mind.
I didn't get that far. I'm sure they'll call when they get the part in, and then we'll make arrangements for them to come out. They said they will come out and do it on site.
Didn't think you'd have to haul it over there, but,
Yeah.
okay. Norma,
I don't have anything.
anything? Okay. Did you have that paperwork that states what we're over, that we talked about?
I did not get that done yet. I'm sorry.
Okay, we can do it next meeting. Next, we'll have city officer reports.
I really don't have much this week. I mean, I probably have more next week, but Shane and I went around and we flushed out a lot of the hydrants. I don't know if anybody saw us.
I did.
Did ya?
And
We
she had
did.
rusty water, so she was very appreciative
Did
of it.
it help at all? I mean, did you?
Oh, cleared it up.
Really? Okay, well, that's good. We did a lot of them. I think we did all of yours. Did you notice a difference?
A little bit, but
We did yours for the longest time.
I don't think ours has been done since we've lived here, but.
They've all been done now, because that's what we did.
They've all been done
On
since
Sunday?
when I am.
I think it was.
Nicole, when you guys opened that up, I noticed in front of our yard, somebody opened it up and all the dirt went flying in the,
There's no
Curb.
way because the pressure
And-
that
On
comes
your,
out.
on your
Yeah,
yard, I
I
don't think we
wish-
did yours.
well, no, this
No,
was
we
before
did.
that.
Okay.
But I
She
wish
was
they
there.
would have put a board down because all my dirt went flying out.
Okay,
I
I
had to
think that he
replace
was,
it.
he was wanting to get like some kind of a hose or something to like direct it away from the houses that are, that it's more in the yard. That's
Well,
why
yeah,
we
it
didn't
went
do.
right in my grass.
Yeah, we didn't do a lot of them because of that reason, because they were just too far in.
Well,
Well,
I
and we
think-
put boards down before and then they
Well,
just flew off. It's hard to have any.
But I'd rather have that than have holes in my yard.
No, I mean, the boards just flew off
Yeah.
and then they just went. I mean,
Or put concrete, have some rocks
They were
or,
full.
Yeah, I know that's the way,
What is that on
Twyla,
the firehouse?
she
No,
has
this is
hers
old.
with rocks.
This is old
She's
firehouse.
rocked it all
I think
around
it's like
it,
cut
so.
off and chopped.
That
so
was a
it's
really
not
easy
big long
one.
one.
That was an easy one to
Yeah.
get to and do.
The nozzle's not.
You know, like the one by, where Travis Gruna used to live, that trailer, his never came clean. We ran that for 20 minutes and it never came
Oh,
clean.
the last time I did it, I finally got it, but I ran it for 15 minutes.
I mean, yeah, it was, cause Shane had to like dig a little
That's
thing,
because
like
there's only
drainage
2 or
to the
3
sewer.
houses on that
I
line.
know, and yeah,
There's
that
not
was the
enough
only
to keep
one.
it flushed out.
That was the only one, we just didn't get to run clean, but we got it running almost clear.
Yeah.
Now, Marge told me at church Saturday, Sunday morning that her watch, he said, God, you have clean water. And she said, my
Can
son
you-
was orange. I thought it was orange too.
Tell you what,
If you think
And
they
this
could
was
go,
Sunday.
you could go back and do that
Mine
one
was orange Saturday.
a couple times, flush that one out a couple times.
That one I know I flushed it out.
We did your, yeah, we
Every
did
month until it
Twyla's, we
clears
did
up.
yours,
Huh?
we did your hydrant, I know we did yours.
Yeah, Marge Moran was telling me at church Sunday morning that her stool was orange.
Really? Well, hopefully that cleared it up, because I know we did a lot of them on the east side, like,
Okay.
so I think that that's where the worst maybe.
Well, they are
And I said,
because they
no, mine
don't
was
have
fine.
the
Our stool was fine.
Yours ran clear right away, it did, when you opened it up your
I
hydrant.
didn't have any problem.
But that one like by that trailer house, that was
Just
bad.
schedule that one
Yeah,
out
that
twice
one's
as much
always-
as all the
Yeah, I
others.
mean, when it first started with, and I was like, I couldn't believe how bad it was, but then it just kept going and kept
Well,
going.
you only
I don't
have
know if
March,
that's bad for
Moran,
the product
and,
to have that.
Let's sell it now, while we're talking about it.
That's it.
and the one on, and where, the house on the very end where,
goes down there.
Dave just,
Right?
that's only 2 houses on there, so there's just not enough to keep that one flushed out. 'cause
Yeah, I told Shannon, you're gonna have to do this one more often.
I did it
because-
about every 2 weeks. That's
it was
the only way I
bad.
could keep
My
it.
water's yellow when it comes out of the faucet.
Is it?
So yours
Okay,
definitely
then I'll
flush.
make a note of that, and we'll do yours, like, do you have a hydrant by your house? Pardon? Do you have a hydrant like near you? Cause I don't think we did yours, I don't think we did any on
I think
both.
there's one
think
across
hers-
the street at Bill's, isn't there?
Yeah, there is, by Mitch's, right?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
we'll do
yes,
that.
yes.
When he gets back, we'll do yours.
I would say going forward, create a checklist.
I got it,
We
I'm
have
gonna mark
to
off
keep-
what you've done, so
You
you
have
can say,
to
we
for
did
the
do that.
reports. You have to do that for the
Right, but I'm just
Yeah.
saying, so you're more aware of what, so these people.
Yeah, we got a map out and we marked all the different hydrants and which ones we did.
And the date and all that good crap.
I'm sure there's one over
Yeah, there, right here, there's so many.
Amanda? Nicole, are you done?
I'm done.
Okay, Amanda?
I don't have any.
Okay. Next, we'll have, we already talked about our old business, the swimming pool. The only thing that we didn't talk about is, I'm not sure, I think we need to take more discussion to see about closing out the project, maybe at our next meeting or our work session, whichever one comes first, obviously. And I did schedule for Pools Plus to come down here. They will be here April 6th.
I think that's a neat point at this.
Yeah.
At this point, I was told by the commissioners in a public meeting that I could call Salina and get them down here. I took the initiative to do so. They will be here April 6th. I've had 5 citizens already call me and ask me if we were going to have somebody start on a grant, if we were going to figure out what was going on. I let them know that Joe had the blueprints. I let them know that we were trying to do what we could to keep the pool for the town, obviously, but we didn't know what it was going to come to. But when Pools Plus comes out, they're bringing an engineer that's actually going to assess the pool for a grant. They're not just coming out to give us a once-over.
How much is that?
We have ARPA money that came from the federal government that they didn't use the last time, so it's there, and it's unbudgeted funds, and we can use it for lost revenue, which has been by the pool, which I already talked to the attorney about. So therefore, once it comes out here, we can see whether or not there's anything they can do.
We've already spent.
But we have to get a
so much
professional, point of order, we have to get a professional to see what's going on.
That's great. The more eyes we can put on it, the better.
Yes. So that's all I have for the pool.
Um,
And as far as the burnt property for new business, Joe, do you have something to say?
I think, whatever we do with the pool, we should probably, screen off the pool house so that the birds can't get in it. Even if it's,
Oh, agreed.
even if it's closed, the birds shouldn't be getting in there. The bird poop is a hazard, no matter what. Even if we leave it closed up, we shouldn't have birds pooping and dying in there, stuff like that. So, maybe after Pools Plus is here, we can talk about, screening that off. It should be a pretty simple process that can be done in a day, so,
And maybe insuring the bill?
and maybe insuring the building. You know, it's gonna be cheap to insure,
It is
it's mostly
insured.
concrete.
The building's insured.
I thought that one side,
The building's insured, the pool isn't.
oh, just the pool itself, the shelter houses.
Right.
Okay, then we're
Yeah.
good.
I think so.
Okay, so, let's talk about closing that off at some point and keeping the birds out of it. You know, it could be, if we close the pool, we can use that building for other things, if the birds can't get in it. That's all.
Those of us that are paying the $1.79.
I took that, I stopped that right now.
And say, was it still going into the pool?
Yeah, I've just stopped that right now.
Okay.
Oh, you mean voluntarily?
Well, I just stopped
Yeah.
it when I did this new program, because I thought we'd just figure out what was gonna happen first, and then,
Okay. So next I have new business. If there's nothing else in the pool, I have new business, the burnt property. I've been contacted by Jody Kisslinger, and I spoke with her, and she does not want anybody on her property. She does not want trespassing on her property. She does not want anything sold off her property or given off of her property. I informed her that the city did not give anybody permission to have anybody on her property. And she's aware that Shane did some cleanup on her property. And she's aware that we need to take the measures that we need to make it safe. And she's informed me that she would like everyone to cease what they're doing and stay off of her property.
So what is she gonna do about it?
That is not for us to decide. She is the property owner.
I
We can
understand
go
that,
ahead
I know,
as
I just wanna know what,
her,
can you,
it's
is she have
her
insurance?
property.
Does she have insurance to clean up her property?
that is the reason she doesn't want anybody on her property. is
Okay, then
because
she
she does not have
needs to
insurance
clean
on her
that property up.
So
As
she
a
told
city,
me-
you need to encourage her to
Yes,
get
I
it
talked
cleaned
to her,
up.
and it's it's their property, it's in her name, but it's her brother's property. And she said that she was going to talk to him because she would like to sell the property. He's the one who doesn't want to sell the property, it's in her name. They recently had an issue where her father's had a stroke, they've been dealing with some things. She said, I understand that things have been neglected, and I apologize for that. She goes, but I don't want anybody getting hurt. So if the city has to go in and put the snow fence up and do what they need to make the barriers to make it to where it's safe to be around, she goes, I understand. She said,
But at
I'm
her
okay with
expense.
that. But she does not,
At her expense.
it would go on to her taxes, yes.
No, her expense. You need to expense these individuals that are not taking care of their properties.
Yes, she's going to, I told her that we'd have to go in and it'd be for her to, we'd have to go in and actually make it to where it was safe enough for us to be around.
So is there an
Barricading
ordinance
it
you
off.
can enforce for that?
She's been notified that she will receive the paperwork that needs to be done for that. But I've already notified her that the city can do what they can to meet the state requirements, but she does not want any private citizens on. So the reason I'm bringing it up is because she doesn't want any private citizens on her property. And the city will handle it, what they have to do, through the code compliance officer at this time.
So the city will move forward on getting it taken care of?
Yes,
When?
it's currently in
It's
the
been
process.
sitting there, I mean, since I've moved
It's
here,
currently in the process.
and nothing has happened.
It's currently in the process.
Most of this happened is when a
This is the-
handful of us tried to get this town
This is the
cleaned
first time that
up.
I've been able to actually get a hold of her.
And where does she live?
She lives by Topeka.
And then how is she aware somebody was cleaning up her trash?
She's aware because there's other citizens in this town
Oh, chit, chit, chit. We
So-
figured that as much as many people were driving around.
So therefore, I'm just letting you know, the city doesn't condone anybody being on anybody else's property.
Okay, well, this is my suggestion. The city gets the snow fence and the post and goes around the property, charge her for the labor and materials.
Nicole's already been instructed today to purchase the snow fence.
And expense her, not taxes. Send them a bill.
You can't send them a bill.
Why can't you?
It goes onto their taxes. That's the only way that the municipality is able to
Has
do
she
it.
Because
paid
that's
her
the way
taxes?
state, state regulations are.
So what is
There's
she
just a
gonna do if we
process.
went in there, we took a tractor load and dumped it in all that crap? It's hazardous. Even just walking around there, you got kids going up and down the damn sidewalks over there.
I'm aware.
So
That's
she
why
worried? She
She
can't
told,
be that concerned.
no, she's concerned, but she just doesn't want anyone to get hurt. That's her main concern. Because like I said, it's her brother's property, but it's in her name, so she's the one to be responsible. So I
And how does
explained
she
that.
think she's gonna sell it sitting like that?
Well, her landowner beside her actually wanted to purchase it, so.
Yeah, I heard he
I'm
wanted
not
to
sure.
steal it, but that's, I heard through the grapevine, you know how this town is.
I don't believe they would steal it, but they wanted to purchase
Yeah,
it.
$50.
And she said,
I'm not
she
sure.
told somebody she wouldn't sell it to them. And I know the Kisslingers, and I also know that this family, as I've been told, has some kind of a lake house down in some place, Arkansas or somewhere, a $450,000 cabin.
It's
And-
Pomona.
Okay, that's nothing.
It's Pomona.
But that's
Yeah.
nothing irrelevant to us.
I
mean,
know, but
the
if they
fact
have, it is, if they have that kind of money, why can't they clean it
That's
up?
not my that's not my place to judge. So that's what I have on the new business for the Burke property. That's where we're at.
Well, if we continue to clean it up,
Is there
What is
anything
she
else on the
gonna
Burke
do?
property
not a damn thing.
you guys have?
You know,
Okay.
I have one more thing for you. Talking about cleanup, we drove around, there's over 40 abandoned lawnmowers and riding lawnmowers throughout this city.
So
What can we do about it?
when I would encourage those owners to bring them down to the metal
Okay,
pile.
well, can that also go in the letter? Actually, the gentleman that passed away, he's got like 8 or 9.
Travis?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, I saw that one.
Can we
cleaning that
yank them,
hydrant.
get permission? Who's his
Lynette, I
estate?
think.
His daughter is,
Oh,
Travis doesn't have an executor of his estate except for his daughter. Lynette was his DPOA, that ends when he dies.
So can she be contacted to try to
I
get
think
rid
so.
of it?
She's in Arizona.
Then you also got another Dave Lieberman or whatever the hell his name is, that has one sitting there with the house falling down. They're all over the place. They're all over the place. So can they be recycled?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Can somebody
Imagine
recycle them?
they're scrap
If they
metal.
wanted to scrap them, they could scrap them.
So we have them taking metal for the dumpsters?
if they wanna bring them down when we pick up
They
the
don't have a
metal.
trailer on Main Street.
That can take all those, if we can get people to get those abandoned tractors that are all over the place.
Yeah, they can put them down on the
Okay,
lot.
so if
Stuff
we can
that's
encourage
allowed.
that also in that newsletter, all of the abandoned mowers and tractors can be hauled off, and if you need help moving them, let us know. You know? We gotta clean this town up, we
So
gotta quit
encourage
tap
them to
dancing
put-
around all this nasty stuff.
Encourage them to put hot lawnmowers down in your letter, so.
Thanks, Nicole.
There is a process for dealing with abandoned properties, and,
It moves
I can-
slowly.
it moves slowly,
Very
but,
slowly.
I can lay it out on a sheet of paper for the next meeting
Oh,
and
like
show
that?
you all exactly what that process is.
And have we done anything on those processes? I know you
There-
haven't, because you haven't been involved with it.
There were some things done concerning that process with the last administration,
And this one.
and so maybe you could kind of lay that out on paper for us next meeting also.
Or we could put it on here.
That'd be- that'd be
Put it
great.
on board that
Hey,
dot.
hey, there's a whiteboard. Yeah, Yeah, let's put it up there, so that everyone can see it. It's a little bit,
No, I'll just.
we're visual creatures, so if we see it, it goes in our brain a little better, so. But maybe if we lay out the process up there too.
I got it, like if you pull that down, it'll say that right underneath there on the second part of the board.
Really?
I'm not sure, are they doing, do you know if they're doing, co-compliance for the meeting that we're
Oh,
going to?
nice.
Hey,
Well, we need something up there.
That's cool. Oh,
Beautiful.
how fancy is that? And then on the back, it says the resources that we have and the time frame. On the two on the back, but I don't want to turn it around.
Excellent. Well, let's put that to use next meeting, and we'll have some things to put up there that
in our actual meeting.
that should explain the process a little bit better and make it a little bit more clear.
Wasn't it very specific on what's going to go on?
I know the last commission
So,
did
okay,
have
if there's-
violations. Do you know, I know they were asked for, I think it was Norma wanted all of them. You know what happened to all of those?
They're in that room right there in totes. I'm pretty sure.
I think rather than starting from
Scratch.
scratch, let's find those, find out how long, what steps were taken. Maybe we'll be further ahead to say, okay, they had their last notice or whatever.
Right.
And
Yeah, we need to lay those out and follow up on them if we can.
We also have to remember, though, that those ordinances that were given and those notices that were given were not by administrative ordinances. Those were by the regular ordinances. And there was no, and the actual code compliant, or the code enforcer that gave those, they were not followed up on. So those are null and void. All those notices, we have to start from scratch. We have no other option.
Well, I think we need to find them and then at least look what was done. Because we're spending money again.
Because when we were doing that, it was like they had an actual court
I don't know
system
if
that they were
that's-
going off of.
Yeah, I don't know. if
We don't have a
that's,
court, we don't have a court system that they're going off of.
I don't know if that makes a difference.
It does though, because of the administrative ordinances. There's a difference between an actual ordinance that you can actually enforce with the administrative by not having a court system, and there's ones that you have to have in a district court of law.
So do you have?
And those were cited as district court of law, which makes them null and void.
So do you have the ordinances in place, ready to roll?
The ordinances are already in place, the code compliance officer is in place, but we can only do administrative ordinances, which is your nuisance abatement and your grass and weeds.
Speaking of the code compliance officer, it states right in the ordinance that we use to hire the code compliance officer that if he leaves the state, he loses his job.
He leaves the state.
That's right. It says it in the
Yeah.
ordinance. Read it.
He was in Florida.
So we're
for
going to go
3
through the
months.
process of hiring him again if that's what we're going to do, but we're going to go through the process because that's what it says on the ordinance.
He doesn't need to be rehired. He has the right to go on work
Read the
just
ordinance.
like you.
No, he doesn't. When he left the state of Kansas, he lost his job.
We even talked about it in a meeting here.
Read the
You
ordinance.
talked about it.
I already
I
read
talked
it.
about that he needs to be a resident, bona fide resident of McCracken, which he is.
It also states in the ordinance that if he leaves the state, he
I will
forfeits his job.
speak with Chris about that then.
You're going to have to.
So you're spending more money.
No,
It's going to have to be
Just
spent.
leave-
That's the
you
way
just
the,
have
that's the
that.
way the
Yes.
ordinance is, that's the way the law reads, so that's the way it's going to be. I'll bring the ordinance next meeting. I already read it, though, I know what it says. So if we have to go through the process, I mean, I'm a minority here, so if you vote to hire him again, that's fine, but we're going to do it again.
okay, we'll discuss that at our next meeting.
Okay,
If there's
cool.
no other new business at this time, I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second the
At
motion.
7:22.
I'll second
Okay,
the
it's been
motion.
moved and seconded to adjourn the meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.